Oh, I swear it is so hard to be consistent with making reviews, but I have been watching the Ready to Love Make a Move. I know I don't have the Ready to Love Make a Move title card on here because I did not feel like downloading it, but you know what's going on. Anyway, so this episode was the season finale slash 20 minutes of the reunion part one. It was, and I have been watching the whole season, and my opinions and feelings have changed, particularly with just like two of them, to be honest. Oh, so I'm just gonna go through each of the girls and how the season finale went with them and who they chose, a little bit about their overall journey, and what we got to see from, like I said, the first 20 minutes of the reunion. So, first of all, before I get into it, I hated how they went about talking to their guy, because I really feel like this should have been a private moment that wasn't being observed by everyone. All the mixers that they've had, nobody was standing, by the door listening in on their conversation, trying to hear. It was, private moment in a sense. And it really just felt like they all got called into the principal's office, and the principal called them up one by one, and all the ladies and the men were waiting to see if the person that just went in is going to get in trouble, or are they cool. Like, I just didn't like how they did that, because it felt super insensitive to the men and their feelings, because I'm really just thinking about Tabari, because he was the only one that got hurt. But I just did not like how they did that. I really do feel like everyone should have gotten their own, say, quote unquote, room. And, they just kind of jump a little bit in between. But it really should not have been them all just sitting around waiting to see what was going to happen. Like, that was just messy how they did that. But anyway, so the first person was Charisse. And, okay, one more thing. I hated how drawn out them saying yes or no was. I hated it. Like, that was so annoying. It was so dramatic. And it was mostly like that between, like, who just was talking super slow was Charisse and Ashley. Like, ugh. Okay. Now, Charisse. So, Charisse to me has had the most inconsistent journey, because she was the only person who kind of took back the redo date that Tamika set up with all the ladies, where they all got to see if one person they let go, maybe it was too soon. And I do think that Maurice at first was dry and a bit off-putting. But when he came back, he seemed much better. I don't know what was said in between. But yeah, I understood why she let him go, but I didn't see it for her for any of the other guys that were coming into her life through Tamika. I think the only potential could have been Mizell, but then Mizell turned out to be a player. But a name like Mizell, that just sounds like somebody that's going to waste your time. Ooh. But I do think Maurice was the right choice for her. I think she does need somebody a little quieter, a little calmer, because she is a feisty woman. Like, she tried to say a little bit, no, you are very feisty. You are very fiery. But it's hard for a fiery person to get so fired like that if they don't have the right person to kind of go with them. That's why she always got into it with Zadia, because Zadia will go there with her, but somebody quiet won't. And if somebody quiet won't, then she's not going to be able to get super fired, and she's gonna look really, really crazy. So, and we'll get to her anxiety in a minute, but I think I think Charisse has shown a bit of growth from her season, because she was somebody I just didn't understand was always staying in Miami on the Miami season. And I think she's shown that she can be a better person towards men, because I remember on her season, she said to the one guy who had 3 kids and a divorce that was baggage to her, which I think was something, rude to say. I didn't like how she was with, I think his name was, like, I want to say, I think it was Samson. He was like light skinned, bald, big old grin, lots of tattoos. I didn't like how she was towards him. Now, Charisse is not a girl's girl in any way, but um, I do like how she worded her moving forward with Maurice, because she said that she wants to move forward with him, but she's had all this time experiencing New Orleans with him and growing, and him getting to, no, her getting to, see him in his element in his city. And she thinks essentially it's only fair that he gets the same experience from her with her in Miami. And I think I think that that's the better choice to make, with, if you really want this person, because there is no way you should be able to say that you want to move in with someone that you've only known for maybe a month or so. Like, that's ridiculous. So you spend all this time in their turf. Now it's time for them to come and experience your turf, and then just continuing to grow, and then getting to decide, okay, which city, because now that we've experienced both. My only thing is, how are they going to do it? Because Charisse had the benefit of having a house provided for her, so that way she didn't have to worry about, where am I going to live, how am I going to pay for things, like, that was taken care of by the show. So how is Maurice going to live? Because Charisse is the type of woman who I don't think would let a man live at her place. She's like, you gonna need to do an Airbnb. um, but I think like I said, I think he's a good match for her. His calmness is good for her. Clearly, his money is good for her, and we'll see how things have worked out with them when we see the reunion next week. So moving on to Vernisha. Now, Vernisha was the only woman initially that I liked, and who I felt deserved to be back on the show. Now, I didn't see Ashley's season, so I couldn't make any prejudgments about who she was. But I just remembered with Vernisha how hurt she was by Joelle. I remember that. I watched it. I felt so bad for her. I kind of saw it come. That doesn't mean it wasn't going to hurt her any less. So I really felt like she deserved a second chance. Now, with that being said, Vernisha was, to me, starting to show some contradicting things. I mean, look, if you got it, flaunt it. But she presented herself like a mama who was like going to be at home, taking care of business, being stable. But I don't know. I just felt like Vernisha just wanted to. Okay, I think Vernisha, out of all these women, wanted to be pursued by the men. And even though she legitimately only entertained 2 men, Jabari and Tabari, I think she got really turned off as she didn't feel like she was being pursued. And I understood her leaving Jabari behind, because I think he was initially a good fit for her. They had a similar background, as far as like their kids, and he's I think his daughter goes to I think he has a daughter that also goes to school in Texas, so that's like a good connection for her. But their lifestyles are too different. Like, Vernisha clearly wants to be out and about, and he wants to be at home with his 9 to 5. That's me. So they just didn't mesh like that, and it was very clear that he wasn't going to bend anyway. Because when she met Tabari, I felt like he was an instant great match for her. Because to me, Renisha is so stiff. Like, she acts like she can have fun, but I don't get fun from her. I get boring. Like, she's to me next to Zadia, maybe Charisse, I don't know, but she's like super boring. Like, she just doesn't bring anything. I just feel like she's to these guys, like she's probably, good to look at, but outside of that, you don't really bring much else. Um, and I really did feel like Tabari was a good fit for her. Somebody who was fun, but also about his business. Now, I was really curious about that whole his child living in Mississippi and him going back and forth there because they never really got into that. Like, does the mother live there? How often is he over there? Like, what's the situation? They didn't clarify that. So I was hoping they would, but we never got it. But oh well. So before we finish up with Tabari, in between Tabari was Mizell. And let's be for real. This is where I figured that Vernisha just wanted to be chased because because she was turned off by one of her blind dates who just really was kind of like too quiet for her. This was at Zadia's party. And so, Tabari's with all the, jokes and whatnot. But then Mizell came talking smooth to her, probably complimenting her, touching her gracefully, whatever. And he, talked to her, flirted with her, got her number. And I just really felt like Renisha was wrong for entertaining Mizell the way that she did. Because I think if Charisse did that to her with, say, Tabari, she would have been upset. So, and I felt so good. Like, that was karma for Vernisha when Mizell was her redo date, which I never, like, let's be for real. They chose Mizell for TV because if anybody should have been a redo date for her, it was Jabari. Like, 100%. It should have been Jabari. Maybe Jabari said no, but it should have been him, not Mizell, someone who she was never set up to date, someone who she didn't even let go. Charisse let him go. But when Mizell told her he hoped it was Charisse, he was still attracted to Charisse, tell Charisse I said hey, tell Charisse you saw me, Vernisha's whole ego was shattered. She was mad. She was mad because she thought she was doing something. So that was good karma for her because she knew she was wrong for entertaining Mizell like that. Because she knew what their circumstances were on this show. If this was a regular Ready to Love, that would be different, but this isn't. Y'all are intentionally being set up with these men. Ugh. Anyway, so the way that she was with Tabari, and I'll be honest, if anybody was going to say yes, maybe next to Zadia, I thought it was going to be Renisha because I really felt like her quote unquote issue with Tabari was so petty. And it was just something she was trying to come up with so she could say no without really being honest and saying that she just wasn't interested in him because she just didn't like him. I don't know. I don't really know what it was. Because their connection to me was something like, it's really hard to put your finger on like why. But anyway, she kept saying that you don't give me something to hold on to because you don't treat me good like over the phone. Like I'm in your face now. You're not doing it. And it's like, girl, I'm pretty sure when you go back home and you get back to your business, you're not going to be glued to your phone like that. This man is an entrepreneur just like you. And I'm so with Tabari and that the phone does work both ways. Now, this is another thing that shows that Renisha just wanted to be pursued. But, so I just didn't understand that. And so she said that she wasn't going to, she was going to go back to Houston alone. And you could just really see the hurt on his face. I don't think he saw that coming. I don't think he did. I think he may have understood. Maybe he felt that there was something off with her, because I've been feeling like that for a while. But I don't. He did. You could tell he did not see it coming, and he looked like he was really trying to be a gentleman and not say what he wanted to say, because that man was really holding his tongue. And Vernisha got up. She left, looked annoyed, and she was really mad that he didn't chase after her. See, I told, like, when she said that, I said, I knew it. I told my mom, I said, I told you. For weeks I've been saying she just want to be pursued, and now she has said it. Basically, she was mad that he didn't come after her and try to stop her. Girl, you embarrassed that man. You left, and then here's the problem. This is why I hated that they had them all sitting outside like that. The door was left open and he was sitting there by himself. It was very clear that there was something off and wrong. And yet the door was open, camera was on him, everyone's looking at him. It was so embarrassing for him. And he was the only one that brought her flowers. Like, all the other guys came empty-handed, and and he had flowers for her, and didn't see where the flowers were. But he didn't say anything to her as he left. And you know what? I was glad, because at that point, she didn't deserve anything else. She didn't deserve a good luck, wish you well, a hug, a goodbye, nothing. She deserved the cold treatment. And if I was Renisha, I would just gone back upstairs and packed. Because you obviously going back to Houston alone, like you said, goodbye. She pissed me off more than any of these women towards the end. Because that was so wrong how she did him and how she talked about him. So we gonna see what they gonna get into, because it looked like they're gonna get into it a little bit at the reunion next week. So we'll see. So the next woman was Zadia, and Zadia, of all the women, has been dead set on Cameron. He wasn't the very first guy she was paired with. I think he may have been the second. But the second she got him, he has been there the whole time. She has entertained, quote unquote, other dates with other men. Some rudely, some a little ha. But she was like dead set on Cameron. And my thing with their situation is that I think Cameron enjoys Zadia. I think because of how dolled up she gets. Oh, before we get into that, okay. Zadia. Let me tell y'all something. I don't know if y'all remember her season. And I remember listening to different, YouTubers talking about, the Ready to Love. What season was that? DC, Potomac, something like that. And Zadia wore the same thing all the time. She always pretty much wore workout clothes. And she always had that same wig. And while it suited her, it looked busted towards her ending on the show. So, and I know people talked about it and got on her about it and all that stuff. So Zadia came up on this season, on this show, and said, y'all ain't gonna get me, because Zadia, more than any of these women, has had a different wig, a different outfit, every episode, she has been judged up like she is going to the prom. And some of it looks like a little ridiculous, a really gaudy, like, girl, you could, okay, that's enough. My least favorite thing is that little Michael Jackson number she's been wearing with them bejeweled gloves. Blonde is not your color, Zadia. No matter what shade it is, please stick to blacks. Black is your hair color, maybe some of the browns. But, ugh. But anyway. So, I think Zadia definitely slept with Cam. And she had him hooked. Not hooked. She got hooked. She liked it or whatever. And I think she assumed that her sleeping with him would keep him around. Almost like you got this good thing. And I do think Cameron did really like Zadia. But I think the problem was Zadia may have wanted too much too soon. I think Cameron needed a little bit more time with Zadia before making these big decisions. Um, because it's one thing to decide to stay in a situation together where you continue to get to know each other, you continue dating each other, but you're not like 100% locked in on being a couple, but you're working towards that. But Zadia was talking about moving in, is there space for two, and all that stuff. And I think it scared him. I also think Cameron saw her season and saw what a pain and rude person she can be and is. And he may have seen little glimpses of it because it has come in and out this whole season. And I think Cameron was just scared. I think while he enjoyed it, like I said, she was moving too fast. Maybe he was starting to get a little annoyed with her attitude a bit, her little snarkiness, because she is nice, nasty. She is someone who will say things and pretend like, what do you mean? With ooh, that smile on Zadia's face irks my nerve. I just want to smack it off her face because it is so condescending. It is so devious. She knows what she's doing, what she's saying, and she's just doing it to be mean, be messy. But I think Cameron was scared of Zadia, and that's why for episodes we saw him essentially beg her to let him go, because if he did it, she would have gotten on him, and he didn't want that. He did not want that heat, and I get it in a way. You are scared, but at the same time, you are a grown person. That's childish to push something that doesn't really make sense to get them to want to break up with you so that way your hands are clean. Because it is really hard to understand you claiming you don't have time when you are there for all of their dates. Um, but but maybe he feels like I only have the time for what the production is going to pay me for to be on with you. If they're not paying for this or for me to be with you, I can't make the time because I lose money being with you like that. But either way, Cameron should have definitely told her, look, I just don't. Like, I do like you, but I just don't. I don't want what you want, at least not right now. But like I said, he was scared. But in the end, Zadia does the same thing Charisse says. Basically, come to DC with me, and we'll just see how things continue to grow. Next, Ashley. Ooh, if anyone has been a complete loop-de-doop to deal with, it is her. I started because I did not see the Atlanta season from, the first iteration of Rachel Love. I didn't see it. So I didn't know anything about Ashley and what she went through. I only know what we were shown when the season started. And I felt bad for her. Like, if what she was saying, was true, then I felt bad for her. And to me, her and Renisha sounded like women who deserve to be on the show. Because to me, I think if you're going to do a spinoff like this and have, returning cast members, you should bring back people who may have been done dirty and who may have gotten their heart broken, who may have not done things correct. Not the catty ones, not the rude, mean ones like Charisse and Zadia. Because as soon as those two were announced, I said, I know what this is. Y'all are playing for some ratings or views. But getting back to Ashley, she definitely came off as like the one that you were rooting for in a way. And she seems super sweet, super open, super like that's the kind of friend you want. But I realized during her when her and Dawn were getting into it the first time at the bowling, I said, "Oh, she's trouble. She's messy." Because that whole text gate didn't make sense to me. I really do think Ashley likes to play it up. She knows she's on TV and she wants to make a moment. I think she enjoys toxicity. I think she enjoys blowing up little things. And she was just so extra. Like every elimination, whatever, she was so dramatic about it. She was elongating everything. She was drawing it out. She was crying, getting up and moving. And, oh. So after that, I kept trying to have her redeem herself in my eyes, but she never got back. She never got back because she kept sinking deeper. And but I understood her letting Dawn go and accepting Kirsten because Kirsten was someone she seemed to be really vibing more with. But then when Kirsten was on that BS, he was worse than Cameron. I mean, this man didn't show up, didn't let you know, played in your face with your friend and flirted with her. A beautiful surprise. I mean, I wish my boyfriend would say that to somebody. I would, be so mad. But the fact that she entertained the idea of keeping him, bringing him back was so childish. I was like, oh, okay, you just like the mess. Because I feel like she would have wanted to keep Kirsten because he would bring drama and she likes it. Probably one of those crazy people who likes the makeup type sex, break up to makeup type stuff. That's Ashley. But when she did let Kirsten go and let Dawn back in, Dawn, was doing all this stuff to, keep her around, not keep her around, to come back, trying to win her back, And so when we get past, because Kirsten was her redo. I don't know why. I guess he had to pull somebody because who else? But Dawn and his friend, I felt bad for Ashley in that moment because, and she was right. The way that you are talking, like the way that girl was talking about Ashley being aggressive and extra and all that stuff, moving her hands. And then for Dawn to go back and, do the same thing when they met up later, that is the same things in your friend, literally. And you cannot deny it. That really made me mad. And for him to be sitting back there smiling, I honestly think, because Dawn is weak, like to me, he's a weak man. I think he didn't want to have to do that to her, so he wanted somebody else to do it to her. And that's why he was just laughing about it. He was slick smiling. Like he was. And then for him, later meeting up with Ashley, talking about, I'm trying really hard to stay calm. What you need to stay calm for? What do you need to stay calm for? You are a trip. But surprisingly, Ashley said that while she wasn't making a move, like I guess to New Orleans or wherever, she did say that she wanted them to continue building and basically keep it as friends. And I'm like, ugh, girl, just say you like toxicity. Just say it. Just admit it. Ugh. But, but yeah, what is it? So yeah, I thought she was going to pull a Vernisha and basically say, I choose me and not you. But she, like I said, she likes toxicity. Ugh. Now, for some reason, we got a 20-minute reunion part 1, which was weird. I didn't like how they did this one bit, but whatever. And this 20 minutes we got really was just focused on Charisse and Zadia. And the problem is, I think Zadia likes starting trouble. I do. I think she enjoys the drama. I don't think Charisse enjoys drama. But if you pull her in, she will not back away. That's the problem with Charisse. Charisse gets sucked in and cannot get out. Like she just goes off and won't let it go. Which is annoying, but Zadia lives for her, and that's why she keeps like poking the bear basically. what was I gonna say? So yeah, I mean their whole like problem with each other. I do think Zadia is exaggerating it. I think because Zadia realized how her perception was from her season and that she was really nasty, very combative. She's really trying to get sympathy in a sense and it's not working. I don't think, at least for me, I'm not buying it. I'm more annoyed with her about it because it's like, girl, be for real. You do not feel like this at all. Ugh. Um, so that was really, and the thing that Sharice said that I'm with Vernisha and what's her name, Ashley on this was when Sharice, because Sharice tries to do it too, play victim, but when she said that she felt ganged up on, they were like, where? And she was like, in the kitchen. They didn't say anything. And I don't know if Sharice was expecting, wanting, assuming that that would happen, but that they would say something. But they were like, girl, please don't. And then Ashley like snapped at Sharice, and Sharice's response is, don't talk to me like that. Girl, you just mad because she getting on you and she's telling you the truth. Don't play. Don't play. But that was the season finale / 20-minute first reunion episode. Next week, we're going to see all the men and all the mess starting. And I don't know if Mizell is coming because they showed. Well, so for Zadia, they only show Cameron. There really wasn't any other guy to bring for her. So for Ashley, there was Kirsten and Dawn, and then Kirsten getting upset and walking off. Then for Vernisha, there was Jabari and Tabari. And Tabari and her are still like getting at it. And then they showed Maurice for Sharice, but I don't know if Mizell, because I would think Mizell would come, but who knows. But we'll see if I do the reunion review. I don't know. We'll see. But let me know what y'all thought about everything and if you think that the Make a Move is a good spinoff or should it not be. I do think that if they do a second season, they should do one of these things. They should either one, it be all men next season, or they should have 2 men and 2 women, be the cast. Like, it shouldn't just be all women. I think they should kind of mix it up a bit. But anyway, peace.